Well, good evening. This is a bit of a rush job. I had checked the brackets on the 2022 Straight Pool World Championships. There was nothing on it. Came back from my tea there. And we have a match on the one-loss side that's been arranged. It's going to start in about 3 minutes' time. And it's between Segeresh from Belarus, if we've got that right, and MC Clarkey from the UK, from England, and it's going to be a race to 150. And we had the match last night between LS3 and Bedhead. I wonder if we'll get the bracket up. Might have a look. No, that's Segeresh's profile I was on. Quick look. Get to the home page. Good evening to Brainfellow. I think you're first in the door. You're the first person to speak up. Yeah, so this is the additional match tonight. And we've also got, we've now got two matches clashing tomorrow night. Well, that's a bit of a drag. We've now got Albinario and Tommy, which was the match that we're going to stream. But we've got Moz and Bedhead at the same time, so they've clearly not thought that through, the pair of them. We've got Popman and Acero tomorrow afternoon. I probably won't be able to do that because I may well be working till then tomorrow. But that's the match we're waiting on right now. So that's a bit of a sore one, having two good matches clashing, but we're going to have to go with the winner's side match. That was the one that I had fully intended to do. Good evening to Napnicker. I had to take the video that I had for the VP4 promo down because that as I say, that last stream has had a copyright strike against it because apparently it's there's another company acting on behalf of POV Pool who are actually sponsors of Virtual Pool 4 anyway. They're in the game. But apparently they own the rights to the video. Steve doesn't. I assumed he owned the rights to the video, but he doesn't. We'll need to find that out from him. But anyway, it's been removed off my promotional activities. In fact, hang on a second, I need to check. I need to change the clock a wee bit because it's shrunk. I've been doing everything in a hurry. Hang on, I'll be back with you in a sec. Doing everything 100 miles an hour to try and get this stream ready because it was a last minute thing. I'm going to have to probably join the room late. There we go. That's the clock fixed. Right, now I need to move that over to my other monitor. I think that's about it. Right, back to the game. So, the room looks as if it's up. One player's in. The cloth's at the right colour. I'm going to remember my clock. And the little clock is underway. There we go. Everything's went okay so far. Yeah, so I've had to replace the VP4 promotional video. I've replaced it with something else that's going to annoy people. So, of course, again, for anybody who doesn't know, you win the lag, you put your opponent in, and Segeresh has won the lag. Race to 150. Now, MC Clarkey's obviously tried something here. He's going to try something different in his break by the look of it. Right over to the far left side. Trying to bring it into the pack for cover, which obviously hasn't worked. It's very difficult in VP4, that is, to play a break in VP4 straight pull that's going to prevent your opponent from potting a ball. I think you really need a little bit of luck to get that to work. Well, I thought LS3 did pretty well last night. She was never going to be the favourite. She just sort of lost her way towards the business end of the match. The contributions really dried up. But there was a point where she had two good opportunities, but didn't score anything from them or nothing worth mentioning. And I think the nerves started to creep in a little bit. But she gave a good account of herself. She's got nothing to be embarrassed about, ashamed about, or anything. You know, you're playing one of the top players in the game. As long as you give a good account of yourself, that's what matters. You don't just capitulate and fall apart. The one that Matt tried there, Larry. You know, bringing that cue ball into the back of the pack and leaving nothing. Well, I think it's a bit of a lottery. You know, if you play the sort of standard break going up to the top right-hand corner or the left-hand corner, unless those corner balls in the pack come back to the pack, the chances are you're going to leave a pot anyway. So, of course, it's all down to what Matt can make of it. And he's not going to make much from this unless he spotted something in the pack. Now, what about that 13 onto the 8, onto the 15, onto the 4? Because that 15 goes clean to the 4. So if you hit it top side, he's trying to get into the pack. Now, that tells me I don't think he's really looked at the pack. Because had he looked at the pack and he was going to be aggressive, he would have played the 4-ball combo, because that looks dead set. It's not now. In fact, it might still be. Hang on. Well, it could be. It could still be set from the 9. Although that it might not be, because again the 15 is going to get cut with the 8. I think it's gone now. But I don't think Matt looked at that. Well, I saw a bit of Matt playing the other night there, and I thought he was cueing well. He was stroking the ball well. And it certainly was good enough to take out Mr. Fox. So it's, I mean, Segeresh is good enough to keep himself well in this match. Just cut out the unforced errors. Well, that goes for both players. It's the obvious things you would say. Well, this is, well, let's just say it was a bit ambitious. He called the bank. And Segeresh has a chance here to do a bit of damage. Now, I'm going to check my buttons that I've got set here in my shortcut keys to remind me what one I have to press. Hang on a minute. Right. Because I say that the one that you're going to see some point in the match is the little bit that I've got to replace the VP4 video. It's all done in fun. Good evening to Semi-Pro. By the way, Semi-Pro, I was going through YouTube. I unmuted Stub. I'd rather have him coming in the chat here than been in the room, so I unmuted him and see whether he'll stay out of rooms. Maybe that's the reason he's going into the room, because he can't bullshit in the stream. So I unmuted him. We'll see if that works. I mean, he's going to bullshit wherever he is, but I would prefer he did it in the stream, because that's not disturbing the players or not distracting them or catching their eye or anything like that. And bearing in mind, he's hardly ever in any longer than 5 minutes, and then he gets bored and disappears anyway. So I mean, he's never. I don't think he's ever sat through a stream. I think his attention span's that of a goldfish. You know, he sort of wanders around for 2 minutes, forgets where he is, and then disappears. Well, this is an unexpected match tonight, and the bad news for any latecomers is we've already discussed it. Quick look. We've got a clash of matches tomorrow night, which is a bit disappointing for me, because every focus was in Albinario and Tommy on the winner's side, which is the one I'm going to do. But we've got Moz and Bedhead going at it at the same time tomorrow night now on the one-loss side, so we're going to have to keep a close eye on what's happening there. And depending on how the matches are going, we might swing from one to the other. We'll test the waters while the games are running. But I would have loved to have had both of them. They'd be well worth watching. Of course, now, I'm just thinking, it's not worth it. It's not worth the hassle. Anyway, back to the matters in hand here. We've got Segeresh looking to get shape on this 14 ball. Yeah. That little punch. In fact, I think he left himself marginally too straight on the 14 anyway. But the 15 is finished parallel with the back of the pack, so it's not great. Good evening to Popman. Welcome aboard. Well, this is going to have to be a really firm stunt to slam this into the pocket and try and jab this cue ball straight across into the pack. This could head up table. Yeah, it's, again, not easy. So it's a scrappy start. Let's hope it warms up. Well, the bank wasn't called. Or did they call a safety? Maybe I missed something. I was looking across at the chat. Maybe I did. Right, again, quick look at the pack here. Well, that 7 ball doesn't go clean to the 15, so that's not set. There's nothing on. So players trying to find their length of cue ball here with these safeties. Now this is going to be a dangerous one because I don't think Matt is looking at that 14. Obviously it doesn't go onto the 7 clean, but he has to get this thin enough not to do too much damage. And I think the length's a bit better. That's excellent. Yeah, everything's still okay in the bunch there. So this is a test of your eye coordination or your hand-eye coordination. Get this as thin as you dare, and that's perfect. You just needing another 10 inches in the length there. We're doing it absolutely spot on. But something's going to give soon enough. It's much better doing that than it is nudging balls out. So he's losing a point on 1 foul. But most important, no damage done. Well, there's the damage there. The mistake has been made, but immediately Matt has to pot the 14, get slightly inside this 4 ball if he can. Well, I think he could have done with a bit more, but we'll see how much he can get into this. Yeah, I think he's okay. 7 balls landed, cue ball spinning like a top. It's going to be here for 10 minutes doing this. Look, that stopped quick. But I mean, these balls are spinning a lot more on the break. Some of them, I don't know that VP4 ever did that to that extent before Steve started messing about with the changes. Seems to be more prevalent to me. I seem to be noticing more of them. Long pauses before the ball stops spinning. I mean, obviously it happens in real life, but I don't think it happens to the same extent that we're seeing in the game. Oh, what's he got? What's he got to go for other than that? 9, where he can, if he's going it nice, it looks good. But is that 10 ball going to... Well, he's decided he's going to use the 10 instead. Might be a better idea now that I think of it. Should open things out. Don't know how heavy he wants to hit this. Because he's hoping to manufacture something of a break shot. Well, here we go, folks. That's what I've got in place of the VP4 promo video. By the way, on the photograph in that background, that's me and my twin brother, just in case you're wondering. Well, these two players are looking to get settled down. Clearly the one ball at the moment is going to have to be it. But when he hits this 10, it's whether it brushes past. Is he trying to come back off the 12 to avoid the 10? Yeah, it's brushed past the 1, which is handy. The only thing that isn't handy is he's not really got a great shot. It's going to have to be the thin cut. And then cue ball's running up and down the table, and he might end up having to take his one ball the way this is going. Now he might be able to, if he cuts this with a bit of right spin, well, he's not taking the 10, he's looking at the 3. I don't know why he's not taking the 10 and cutting it maybe with a bit of right spin to run over the left side and come back down for one of those 2 balls. That would have been a possibility. But I think the most important thing is he's kept his possible break ball, but how does he get up there? He's dead straight in the 10. So he's going to have to get nice behind this 11 if he's running up table or into the side. But either way, if he's taking it to the side, I don't think it's quite as... Let's see what angle he's got. Well, it's obviously going to have to do. He's going to have to try and get into that sort of parallel line with the one ball if he can. Keep going, and that'll do. That's pretty good. Worked it out, got there in the end. Cue ball coming off the pack, up table, and has a choice of a couple of balls. So now Segeresh has got a footing into the game, and there's a few points here to be taken. Who else is ready for GT7? Not me. I mean, I firmly prophesy that I'll never play Gran Turismo again, unless Sony suddenly have a a seizure and decide to make their games available on PC, which I think will, if you were holding your breath for that one, you'll be holding it for a long time, because I'll never be having another console. Yeah, Segeresh is sporting the Ukraine flag in his in-game pick tonight, showing his solidarity with his neighbours. Now that's gone a bit loose. I think he was trying to get into the meat of those balls there, and I think he's a bit fortunate that he's still got a cut in the 14. But when he plays that, he's going to be running all over the place here. I mean, he could try a cut back on that 9, and he certainly would get some sort of. I don't. In fact, looking at the angle he's got in that, he might miss the back of the bunch of them doing that as well. So this is none too pretty. Needs to bounce. Now, when he pots the 9, he's most certainly got nothing else. That 10 ball's in the way of the combo. The 6 and 5 aren't set, so he's got a very slim to zero chance of continuing this run. Now we know this, the 5 is nowhere near set, so it's definitely running to the point. Now he's going to have to make allowances for that. He's going to have to slightly overcut the 6. You've got to slightly overcut it that way, and also take into consideration the distance between the two, just to put that 5 ball in line. Yeah, he's played it well. Played it very well. Don't know whether we'll catch it. Yes, we did. So the replay's still working. We've still not got a definitive break ball. That 10 balls right at the back of the pack, and Segeresh has taken his eye off the 4, trying to get on that 15. So the run ends on 16, and we go through the same procedures in these matches where Segeresh has got a little lead, and the incoming player, in this case MC Clarkey, has to get his first objective, and that's get rid of the deficit. Because whenever you come to the table and you have that deficit, it's not a huge deficit, but if you don't get rid of it in the immediate visit, it's a bit of a fail. That's how you feel. Yeah, I think I've got it pretty much dialed in now. The replay, messed about with it long enough, but I understand better how it works, because it's not just quite as simple as dropping the replay function, and you've got to get the timing right for it as well. You've got to get the allowance for the amount of video that's stored in cache or whatever the hell it does. You know what I mean? I've set it to, I think, 8 seconds, which is long enough to see a replay. Right, I'll be back in a second because I'm beginning to boil again. Just going to put this heating off. Right, I'm back. I've also got my reserve bottle of water as well. Forgot about that. So where have we got to? Well, he's got a really testy cut there, but he's got the hit. That was well played. Oh dear. Well, that's a short and sweet visit for Matt, and it is a fail because it's only a run of 6. Got the fizz in the cue ball, running forward, straight into the pocket. So now Segeresh, his objective is just to put a nice little collection together here to regain that gap that he had. Oh, unbelievable that he's missed the pack and went straight through that gap between the 11 and the 9. And he's still got a bailout though. Well, I think he'd do well to get rid of that 10 ball that's sitting there to the left of the 7, because that's an obstruction at the bottom end of the table, and he can get on that. When he's taking the 9, I thought he was taking the 6. And he started running into balls when he really should be trying to pick them off and waiting until he's got a better shot to be creative and open them up. I don't know that that was the right move. Well, we'll find out. Looking to see now that the gap to get on that 10 is pretty tight. And he looks as if he's trying to come in for a hit again here, is he? Yeah. And sooner or later you're going to end up dead in the water doing this, because you know you're. I think he is. I think he's dead. He's nothing. It just got untidy with those last couple of shots where he should have probably picked his way to get to that 10 ball, and maybe it would have worked out better. Hindsight, as we say, is a great thing, but the 2 shots that he did there, well, they've completely stifled his chances to increase the lead. He's certainly brought back the same lead. He's got the 6 points that equals Matt's last visit. Now, is he calling the 7? He's had a look at it. I mean, he could push the 10 and just try and run onto the 7. And now I don't know what he tried there. He might have tried that, but I think the 10 brushed the 8 and brought it over the pocket in the process, so that hasn't worked out. Yeah, he's a happy chappy, that wee chimpy boy. Nah, that pie was lovely yesterday, or whenever it was. Was it Friday? I can't remember when I had it. It was beautiful. And I was really starving. Hence why I had the 2 rolls and mince prior to it. So Matt's got the 10 ball up the table. He's got a break ball in place. He might go 7 ball. Well, he's going 1, but I think he could go 7 and come up for the 14, take care of the 1 after that, and use the 10 ball to get to the 3. He might want to try and keep the 1 to get to the 3, but either or, he had a chance there to get rid of one of those balls, and he's going about it his way. I think I would have got rid of that there and then. So now this is important, because if he ends up leaving himself higher on this 3, he's going to struggle to pot the 3 and not run into the 14. So this could be a swift end to the visit. And he's got to, by the look of it, play the 14 and try and come up the middle. Checking the cue ball, it needs to keep running, and that looks okay. Or is it? He's just going to have to catch those last 2 balls. Oh dear. Has he? He's not got a show. I think he's very tight on that 11 ball. But look at the 12 and 6. That looks as if it's running to the 11. Well, he might have to play the cut on the 11. If he plays the cut in the 11, he's got a possibility of the 4 and the 14 ball to try and keep the run going. So everything else is a problem here. So he's gone long. He spotted the combo. But he would have much... he's going to have to get something moving here, or stun onto the 9 and leave the... And I don't even know whether the 2 goes into the side. It's tight. Well, I think it might just go, but he might be going for something a bit more aggressive to try and do some damage. I don't know how much he'll be able to do, though. Oh, I think he's... Can he see the 10? Yes, he can. Well, the 15 ball or the 6 look good from this side as the break ball, so he's now would be the ideal time to commit himself, get rid of the 15. Well, that tells you he's thinking something completely different, but he's actually brushed through the 6. It's passable for a break shot where it's finished up. Another way, how's he going to get? Well, he can go up table for the 5 and 2. The 7 ball's a bit in the way for that, though, so he's got to be mindful. And now he's created another problem. Does he take the 2 right now and open them up? Because that's a blind pocket shot when he still get easier shots to play. He could come back off the 1 and take the 2. Ideally, he wants an angle to run into these. He's maybe got a wee bit more than he would have liked. Is he still going to commit to the 2? No. In this case, if he's taking the 13 and he tries to drop up to the side where the 4 ball is, he could land on the 7. Again, he would want to land on the 7 where he's given a nudge to that 5 ball. So this is where you've got to get everything clear in your mind where you're going. So he's got options. Pot the 13 and a little jab back for the 2 and take it, or pot the 13 and go that way and try and get up past the 4. Well, I think now he's made his mind up. Or has he? He's holding off and holding off. See, this is, I mean, it's a testier pot, but it does get rid of the problem there. Or at least it opens up the problem. He could create another one from it, but he's holding off and he's still got the issue there. That's the problem. I think he's committed now. Yeah, he's going for the 2. That'll do it. And he's on the 6. And the 6 ball would have been the break ball. He can hook himself. He can play himself off over this 5 to get rid of the 9. But he needs to get back into the table to keep his 6 ball there and deal with these here. So he's working it out. And this, you can see that Matt's thinking about what he's doing. And this is what half the players aren't doing. He's not doing it. He's seen some shots different from where I'm seeing them, but he's working at it. And if only half the players in this tournament did the same thing, they would find that they would improve tenfold by doing it. Well, the 6 balls going, the 7 balls went to a favourable position. Good evening to Hairpig. But that's what I like to see. I like to see a player actually thinking about what they're doing and working stuff out. And this is how he's ended up here. Perfect example of structuring and finding your way out. And unless Segeresh matches up to that, Matt's going to start building a score here. But again, he's got too much fizz on that cue ball. Huge risk there. I mean, that could have been a disaster. The run is 27. What is it? 22 or 27? I can't even see them sitting in front of you. Yeah, 22. But he took a huge risk there. But he's still in business, which is all that matters. The 4 and the 1 down at the back of the pack here look okay. They look clean to go as long as you can drop down onto them, into that corner. Well, it's not a great angle in the 4 if he's going to start trying to do stuff off this 4. Yeah, best left well alone. The 8 ball's a far better ball. Well, this might end up just pushing the 9 up the table. I don't know whether it will catch the 3. It'll depend, because again he's stuck to the rail, so he's only been able to go forward here. And that is not bad. It would have been better if that 12 ball was out of the way. Now he can take the 5, get rid of the 12, and deal with that issue right now. And he's got enough balls to get back over where he is now to take out the 10 and the 13, because they're not set anywhere. So we'll see how he works out this one. Again, he's getting himself close to rails. It just limits your functionality with the cue ball. You're having to jack up and do things when you're trying to start manoeuvre the cue ball. So, quick look at where things are. 13 is outside the pack. It's no good where it's sitting though. The 9 looks okay. The 11 is a bit up top. The 2 looks okay. It's a bit wide, but it's going to go now, I think. So this 10 and 13 ball, well, he's actually, I think, cried it there, and he's ended up leaving himself a bigger problem. Like I say, there was probably better options to get over there than trying to run the cue ball into them. Now, the angle he's got in the 14's not great. He would have much rather finished there. If he finished there, he was potting the 14 and dropping down for the 10 or the 13, not a problem. He can take the 9, which would allow him to come down and come up. But that is getting rid of one possible break ball. He's still got another one though. Now he's trying to come inside in the gap. Well, that'll do. Good evening to Bill. Welcome to the party. So, slowly but surely, Matt's building up a healthy little run here. Right up to the critical point in this rack as well. He's gone absolutely bolt straight in the 10. So, cue ball into the kitchen. Good thinking. I wonder if he's going to have as much fizz on this cue ball, because this is the thing that might catch him out at the end of the day. See, he's done it again. You know, that's something he's getting wrong. He's played a few shots tonight where he's juicing the cue ball way too much. So the run ends in whatever it was at 33? It could have been so much more, but we've had evidence tonight. He's just, I don't know whether this is something that's maybe habitual in what he's doing, or whether it's just gone wrong for him tonight, but he's much better controlling the stun, you know, rather than trying to juice up the cue ball to get it running, because you know what, if it doesn't hit solid and starts skimming off things, and the forward momentum just taking it towards pockets at those angles. Oh dear. Well, having said that, Segeresh has nailed himself almost to the 4. He's got 2 testy options here to bail himself out. And it could be a very short visit if he doesn't, because again he's trailing by 13 at present. Wants to get rid of that deficit. And now he's Well, he's pretty much good to go. He's certainly got a shot, couple of shots. And you see, that's a bit in no man's land. I don't know why he didn't play that softer and just drop onto the 12 there. And if he dropped in the right angle in the 12, he could have went around the corner and up for the 2 this side, or the 2, you know, he would have options. If he'd sort of finished in there, he could have taken the 11 if you're desperate enough. But he needs to get rid of one of these, and then to get rid of the 12, he could have come around this side and tried to get on it. But players do see things different from what you're trying to interpret. He's gone dead straight in this 15. He's not got much to work with. Trying to straighten the cue ball back up, and I think again he's going to have to manufacture a shot here. There's nothing else going. There's no combo other than this possibility, which clearly has to be made again. So again, it's a similar shot to what we had earlier, where he's just got to slightly cut that 11 to the right hemisphere of the 4 ball. But the problem is, you don't get it right, you're going to hit the 1. You're going to push the 4 into the 1. This is a dodgy one. He's going about it the right way. He's taking his time to ensure he's got it as good as he thinks he can. But it is no gimme. And the only thing that spoils this is that 1 ball. That 1 ball's the worry, because he's odds on that he'll overcut it and hit the 1, and that's what he's done. And the cue ball's gone as well. So everything about that ended in a disaster. And Segeresh's run ends on 8. He's still 10 behind. So in the 2 or 3 visits that Segeresh has had, he hasn't yet been able to get rid of that deficit and get himself in front. So it's taken us a very similar pattern these last few visits. Now the opportunity to give a nudge here. And that's what you call a nudge. The 2 ball will suffice at the corner of the pack as a break ball. So that's the one to work around. Or are you talking about whether he should have took that combo on here, Pig? Yeah, I think he felt that, I don't know whether he thought it was going to be easier to take that on, or more difficult to try and get a safety. But had that 1 ball not been there, it wouldn't have been a distraction. It was so likely that he was going to push onto that and catch that 1 ball if he didn't get it absolutely spot on perfect. So Matt using the same tactic again, getting the cue ball into the pack, gives him ball in hand. Now let's see if he can get this right. Again, you don't want to be fizzing off the 2. You just want to get the hit and control the cue ball. It only needs to be just below centre. Well, I think the hit in the pack took a lot more off that cue ball, so it's landed okay. He's got something to work with. Quick study round the pack. There's nothing obvious that's set, so it's down to some hard work again. Well, the 6 ball at in the gap between the bunch of balls and the 9 ball would be the one to drop on from the left side to cut that into the corner and get a breakout from there as an option. Not so much anything happening on the other side of the table though. And he's gone a bit straight on this one. He's just trying to get over. He's going to have to take the 9 instead. He's certainly odds on to be hitting the 8 ball, I would think. He might even catch the 6 first. If he catches the 6, that could harm his chances of breaking these open. I think he doesn't like it though, and look where he's stuck anyway. He's nailed to the rail. He's giving it some serious thinking. And all the 4 ball's going to give him is a long cut on whatever it is that's over in the rail, the 13 ball on the right side. I don't know whether he'll be playing for the 3. Well, he might be. He could be taking the 13 as well. Let's have a look and see what he's doing with this cue ball. Yeah, he took a lot more pace off the cue ball, but he's missed the pot. So Matt's visit is only 11. And what's he in the lead? He's got a 33-point lead. Now this is where Segeresh really does want to set a target for himself here to put something on the board from this visit. Because the next time he looks at the scoreboard, he might feel it's drifting away from him. This is a time to make something. Just to keep him well in touch here. Oh dear. Well, the commentators cursed him there. Big time. Is it 21-point lead? I can't count. It's that time of night. Yes, it is. But anyway, he still needed more than that. Well, it looks as if it could be the 3 ball. You know, if he leaves the 13 as his, well, that'd be dangerous to leave the 13 as his second last ball, because you've got to really get good on it. But if he's not going to do that, then he wants to be taken out sooner rather than later. And he looks as if he's lining up the combo. Well, now what's to stop him just rolling the 15 in and just leaving it short of the 13 and cutting it up the rail? I mean, he could have potted that 15 into the side, just let the cue ball run up to here and still cut the 13 from there. Instead he takes a combo, which he had dead on, he just didn't have the pace. So it's a very short visit from MC Clarkey. It's just 3, and Segeresh should be grateful for that. Albeit he's still left with a problem here that he could deal with off the 9, I think. And he might well be hooked in the 13. I don't think he can see it. Oh no, he certainly can't. Now, I think he called the 13 there. I think he's back to calling the 13. It's a big target to hit it, but if he hits it this side, it will stay out. He's played it well. Got it absolutely spot on, and now he's going to have to take the 15, get the hit. But again, it just needs to be pocket weight. It doesn't need to smash into balls. He's going to open them. The question is whether he's going to have one of them as his next shot. And again, Segeresh is struggling for line here. And again, it's went back to how it is. It's gone scrappy. Now that 3 ball, quick look at that. Well, there you go. That is as nailed to the rail as you're ever going to get in VP4. So good luck to whoever gets to that ball. Well, if you're cutting them 3 balls, an obvious place to be potting that ball is up table. There's no way you want to be finishing top side of the 3 as wheel out and trying to flush that 3 down the rail. It's going to catch that middle pocket. But that is absolutely no good where it is, and you can't really get a hit on it with what's left in the table. I mean, Matt could have a rush of blood to the head here and cut this 9 and spin the cue ball into the corner and around and try and get the cue ball up table and get lucky and somehow get a hit in the 3. You could, there's a very slim possibility. In fact, I think the angle is actually too much. Yeah, when you look at it from this side, it's bedhead territory, that 9 ball. In actual fact, the corner pocket's a bit in the way to try what I was talking about, plus the angle's very high. But let's face it, he doesn't have many other options. And I think the idea there was to get the double kiss and leave the 9 dead, but he's actually brought it into play. I think he was hoping to maybe force Segeresh to play the 3 ball there. But he is anyway. He's going to end up having to play it one way or another. And let's see how flush he can get this. Well, where was the problem? Hit it sweet as a nut, but he's gone again 2 straight. Yeah, he's trying to get the spin in the action. How's his luck? I don't know whether it's any good. He can certainly cut the 4. And he's going to be able to bail out on the 5 ball, no problem. It's just about, again, pocket pace in this 4 ball. Give it every chance that it's going in. He's digging down to draw off this. I don't know that he really needed to, because look what happens when you start doing stuff like that. He should have just let that run. He would have still been on the 5. So, I'm afraid it's only 2 from Segeresh, and it's definitely a 24-point lead now and counting. 4 ball will be called. And sooner or later, you would think Matt's going to get his act together and put another little contribution on here. And if he does, that's really threatening Segeresh's survival, because it then stacks the pressure on him to perform and produce something. And the evidence in recent visits has not been great for his prospects, I'm afraid. Oh dear. Well, that certainly is how you use all of the pocket. I think he almost hit that to the first diamond there in the bottom rail. Might want to try and leave himself on the 6 here. I think that's the general idea. Can he get into it though? Or is he playing the 1 to break these 3? Well, it's only worked out from the point of view that he's still got a shot. It's not really helped the situation. I don't know whether he could really get to that 6 ball when he was up this end of the table and get enough of it. But that is too soon to the rail. And even in these contributions, Matt's still putting more together than Segeresh. It's only 6, but it's 4 more than what Segeresh put together in his last one. And it just means he just creeps away that little bit more. And Segeresh, I think, was trying the same idea. And this, I think, is about as good as you're ever going to get in that 6 ball. Well, I think he's got to take the 6 ball. I mean, if he's trying to play the 2 and get a break, that 11 ball's in the way. This is a bit I don't understand. You know, he's went and missed the 2. Why he didn't take the 6, I don't know. 6 ball still sitting there. There's still the issue with these balls. And his run is only 1, so no sooner have I mentioned it than Segeresh's visits are getting worse and worse. Well, at some point, somebody's going to get on that 6 ball or the 11, below the 11, and get this situation dealt with. Well, he's called the 2, played the combo, got the hit, and he's got the split. What he doesn't have is a break ball. They're all in the pack, and the 13 and the 11 don't go anywhere but up table, and not many options to get in behind them, let's be honest. So the prospects in this continuing are not looking great right now. He can take the 3, drop it in dead weight, get an angle in that 6, and then give a nudge to these 2. And the 7 and the 10 remain an issue as well now. Now, if he plays this firm enough, he could run the 11, and it might well run into those 2 and do a bit of nudging as well. I think he just wants to cut this plain ball and just hit the 11 if he can. Oh, he could get the 10. Well, that'll do it. That will do. I was too busy looking at the pack at this set of balls. So that's a bit of a bonus. Well, Matt could be going for the same tactic he's deployed so far. Twice, I think, in this match, where he's dropped a cue ball into the triangle. The obvious thing is, if he does that now, he's not going to see the 13 ball. Yeah, I think he's just going to run and hide. If he doesn't get good in this, that's good enough. That'll do. Again, he's juicing it up. You know, that's always taking the risk doing that. You'd think he'd have learnt his lesson. He's got away with it, but I think twice already it's cost him. And, the odds are pretty high on disaster ensuing when you start doing that with the cue ball. But again, Segeresh should be taking note here. He's fallen out the game here in this last half an hour, and slowly but surely Matt is just heading away here. And I think Segeresh as well needs to take stock of the situation. I mean, he needs to just settle himself down and keep doing the right things. At the moment, he just isn't getting himself set at all. Well, we're an hour and 5 minutes into the match, and Matt is halfway home, and Segeresh needs a contribution at some point, very much sooner than later, I hasten to add. And if you can see that 8 ball, I don't know that you can get into that 8 ball. Not enough room. This is not ideal either. He's certainly going to hit the 2. And again, it threatened. He's trying his hardest to put this cue ball away. Well, this is the make or break one to try and improve this situation here. It's an ugly shot, this 2 ball. Well, it's brought something out, but it's still left a slight problem. But right now he can drop in behind the 14 or the 15 off this 11. Just get right below. He's bound to be on something up into the corner pocket. If he finishes a wee bit short, he's got the 14 into the side. And he's trying to run into them again. I don't know that was the right idea either. Not at that pace. And now he's gone ugly. He's got a hampered shot on this 8 ball. He should have just dropped below and took one of them up table. Because again, it's a case of running out of balls to deal with this. And this time he would like to drop in behind him because he can still take either of them. Not where the 9 is, but he's not going to have any other options to do anything, and the angle on the 9's not great, but with this 10 ball he can certainly just drop in. The worst that can happen if he finishes short is he's on the 7, and he might be able to draw off the 7 depending on the angle he has and run into them. This is as good a chance as he'll have. Now the other issue is he's gone close to the rail, and he might have to do what I was talking about here. He might have to jack up. The 9 is fine if he's prepared to take it into the side. He's going to get a hit on the 15 then. But well, now I don't know what he's doing. I think again he would have been better taking the 9. had he not been as close to the rail, he might have tried to pot that ball and draw into those two. So, looks like end of visit. Unless he calls. In fact, I think he's gone too far for the bank as well. But the run is still 19. It's still a decent enough little contribution. And it's still a lot more than Segeresh has been making. And Matt doing the right thing, leaving Segeresh nothing. And this is how you frustrate your opponent. They're desperate for a gift of a run. But if your opponent's not prepared to give you those opportunities, then you've got to start doing some hard work. And this is the position you don't want to be in. And Matt's sitting on, 90? And Segeresh on 43. So this is crisis point here. And again, the right shot to play. That needs to slow up. He's okay. I thought that 6 ball was sitting further out. Well, Matt's not got the cover this time in the 1. But it puts pressure on Segeresh to make his mind up if he's going to play the cut. And he's going for it. Now, I've seen 1 or 2 players playing cuts like this up the table and send them right to that first diamond like that. They're not reading the angle at all. And that was another one. Cue ball's taking a line, it's taken right in towards this first diamond. It's nowhere near the line of the pot. And Matt may well have a blast here and hope to get lucky with this cut angle in the 1. Well, he hasn't blasted it. It's more controlled and the end result is not bad. Okay, there's still a mess of balls, but there's balls sitting out there that can help him improve the situation. The 15 at the back of the bunch from the left side into this right corner pocket with a good angle would allow him to do that. Well, I think this, for the most part, this match is heading one direction now. I mean, if I'd been keeping proper tabs on stats and contributions here, Segeresh has pretty much done nothing for the last 40 minutes. And each time he looks, Matt's further and further away. He's going to be in 3 figures before too long. And he's just got the wrong side of this 6 ball. He might be trying to fizz this cue ball again. And I don't think he's got really much of an option here to try and... Yeah, he's trying to get a hit, but it was never really sitting good to do anything like that. Segeresh will try the same. Try and run it a couple of rails off this 6 ball. But this line of balls here is a big target. The problem is, by the time the cue ball gets there, most of the pace is out of it. And he could end up like that. And again, a nasty cut. I mean, it's a good bit off the rail, so the odds are very strong it's going to go in. Now, does he take the 15 and run forward? or does he take that 5, even though it's at distance? I think I'd be taking the 5 if I was in Segeresh's situation. Because look what's happened. He's ended up, well, he's still got a ball, but I think the 5 would have been more likely to improve the situation a lot better, even though it was at a longer distance. Although if he can get on the 3, again he's set it to that first diamond pretty much. This time it's gone in. Well, how important is this contribution and how big is it going to be? But if you're ever going to pull something out the hat, this is the time to do it. Is he able to see enough of that 9? Well, we might have to throw it a wee bit. I think he's still trying to convince himself he can get there. But I think if he just twists this cue ball a wee bit, he can make the hit. Doesn't look as if he's doing it though. Has he called the bank? Maybe I've missed something here. I think he's called the bank. The way he's lining up. Oh, he's a mile away from it. Well, that's the only good thing about that shot, is it's ended up like that. If you're Segeresh, it's a contribution of 5, and this time he's got lucky. Who's that that's in the room? Potman. Well, I think that's the first really, apart from the scratches, that's the first really poor shot that Matt's played. And Segeresh, with that pot there, has run the 3 ball into play. Well, this is probably the most important break shot, if he can get there, that Segeresh will play tonight. Oh, he's checked it. He's got the line. Now, can he get the pot? And can he get good? Oh, he's most certainly got the pot. He's got a bonus ball. And that's worked out very nice. That was well done. Now, who's Craig Liddell again? Somebody needs to remind me. Good evening. Well, this has all of a sudden become Segeresh's most important visit in the match. It's the biggest contribution he's made for 40 minutes, as far as I can recollect. It's only 7, but it's got to be a lot more than that to get him back in touch in this match. If he doesn't get, into the next rack, I would say that it's pretty much all over, bar the shouting. But again, the big stunt doesn't work when they're offline, and the commentator's curse rears its ugly head again. Oh, you must come online at weird times, because I don't ever recall seeing that name in the lobby. You must work weird shifts. Of course, it depends how much spare time you have, as well as whether you can actually get yourself online. That's a problem for lots of folk nowadays. is actually getting enough spare time to have a game or two. But Matt at the table with a 40-point lead, looking to build on it, get to that 3 figures, and then head home. Now, while he's trying to put something together here, let's have a quick look at the bracket just to see where these things are unfolding, because there's the match that clashes with the winner's side match tomorrow night. The one-loss side match with Bedhead and Moz. That kicks off at 7 p.m. and the winner of it will play Woody. And further down, we have this match at the moment, and it looks like, I'm not tempting fate, but it looks very likely that Matt MC Clark is going to go through. And before the other match tomorrow, we'll get this one in the afternoon, or the other two matches, I should say. We'll get the other match in the afternoon between Acero from Japan, Popman from England. That's at 2 p.m. and the winner of that will play the winner of this match. So right now it does look like Matt is going to go through. Now on this winner's side, we have the big match tomorrow night between Albinario and Tommy. Albinario from Sweden, Tommy from Germany. They say that this was the only match that was on tomorrow night until I came on earlier this evening and found out that these two guys had set theirs for the same time. So, as I say, depending on how the matches are going, will depend on what one we stick with. I'll leave that up to the viewers to decide anyway. I'd much rather leave it as a player's choice or a viewer's choice than me make the decision. Well, it's not going well for Segeresh because he can't put anything together. He's had enough chances, but the contributions have dried up. His biggest contribution, I think, was 8 or something there in the last hour. And, well, he's got another chance. Matt's missed the break again. Well, he's not missed the break, he's missed the pot. But he's just doing what really happens. It's a similar pattern to all the matches. Most of the time there's one player scoring more per visit than the other player, and this is what Matt's doing. He's been able to just string more points together. He's only 45 away from home. Segeresh is a big distance behind and still waiting on putting a run together. But, you know, it's the great thing about straight pool, you've always got that opportunity to step up to the plate and produce the goods and actually do it. You're never out the game until it's over. Well, I think he's landed nice on the 9. It might be just the wrong angle to get. He's the wrong side to get the nudge in the 4 and 1. You can take the 5 up table, but big problem in keeping this visit going is that situation with the 4. and the 1. And this is fairly close to the rail. He's trying to get a wee hit. So now, if he runs the 5 into that corner, and there's the issue with my donut happened again. I think it's happening because I'm using this Alt spacebar as a mute option, and that's not going to get there in XSplit Broadcaster, and I think that's what causes the issues with the V button. I think if you just keep hitting it, it fixes it. It looks okay now. But what I was about to say was, if he potted that 5 at the right pace and finished there with the cue ball, he could have got on the 3 and played the little nudge. And as it is, Matt has got an angle. Well, that's it's just amazing how things can very suddenly go wrong. All he thought he had to do was just get the little hit, and at worst he would have the 5 ball over that corner pocket, and now he's got nothing. Well, he sacrificed a point, but he's covered the 5. Well, Segeresh can't really go behind the 1 as such, because if he goes straight behind the 1, Matt will just knock it onto the 5. I think he's at a bit of a loss as to what to do, and I think I would be as well. I mean, he could try just brushing on the 1 and putting himself in 1 foul. Matt's already in 1. He could go for a really dodgy cut in a 4 up table. Yeah, I think it's, well, he should have looked at it. He hasn't called it though. In fact, well, now he's decided, well, this is not make or break, but it's just out of sheer desperation to try and stay at the table. And also because there's not a lot of other options available to him. So it's been a real grind for Segeresh in this match. He's just not been at the races. Well, he'll probably leave the 3 ball, I would think. Get into where he is. Where he is now would give him a reasonable chance of getting some sort of hit in the pack to play that 3 ball. And if he doesn't, he can go inside the 3, right onto the rail, get the cut and get the hit as well. But he's not got much room for manoeuvre doing that though. He's got a lot more room for manoeuvre coming into the middle of the table. Well, he's got an angle. Chip to talk of the pack. And nothing. Or can he get the 10? Well, that's extremely awkward. May well just lose a point here again, unless he, but he can't push the 14 through to the rail. Well, maybe he can. Looking at it there, he can maybe just do that and it'll brush off the 2, but if it hits it too thick, it'll send it nearer that corner pocket. Again, Matt puts himself on one foul, loses a point. And Segeresh has failed big time there with that attempted safety. Loses a point, but he's left Matt actually a couple of choices here. I don't know whether he can get to the one enough though, but I think he can certainly get to the 14, and either or, they're both really awkward. And even if he pots the 14, he's running into the 7 and the 2. Doesn't know whether he's going to have a shot. He's still looking at this one, convinced he can pot it up table. Well, it's the pace that done him. So, Segeresh back at the table. And now going for the hit off the 10. Got the bailout ball up table. And it's not really a vast improvement. Well, this is now what, it's now gone past 90 minutes, this match. And Segeresh will be glad of that bailout ball up table, even though he's going to have to play the combo, because he's got a testy 5 that I just don't think he's confident enough to be playing that. Let's see where this one ball's sitting. Well, it's in the jaws, so shouldn't be any problem. Dead straight in the 13, so just a kill shot for the 9 or the 4, I would think. Well, he's landed as good as he ever will in the 4 ball to nudge these 2 balls. Well, as long as he gets the pattern right, he wouldn't need to nudge them, but he's not healthy where he is now. I don't know why he didn't just take the 4 and take the doubt out of the equation and just get a nudge on those. I mean, he couldn't have landed any better on the 4. And now he's on the 5 with the same option. So, problem been dealt with. Passable 14 ball for a break shot. But, and the big but is that he didn't come out far enough to see that 7 ball. And that was maybe what he was planning to do there, but he's fell short. And now he's got to do the same thing though, but off this 15, so it might be off 2 rails and into the middle of the table. Oh dear. No, you've got to hit it, Segeresh. Unless you're, well, you have no option now. You've got to take the 14 and run forward. So the break ball's gone. Well, maybe it hasn't, but it's going to have to be a reverse bank on the 7 or into the back of the pack off the 7. Well, I think he's got too much in this, I think. And if he puts English on it, the pace that he puts on the cue ball, it might not be effective enough anyway with the angle he's sitting at. Let's see whether he can get anything. And this is definitely his biggest contribution in over an hour. Good evening, Tommy. Yeah, it was never on. So the run ends on 14. He could be sacrificing a point here if he just runs to the head of the pack. But he's taking a risk, skimming the corner there. Well, he's missed it. So a point gone. But nothing on for Matt. So this is the point now where Segeresh has to be winning safety battles here. He has to be the winner in this sequence here to try and eat into this deficit. So for the prospects of him staying alive in this match, that's really what's got to happen. And that's actually ended up a very good safety. Very good. And he's got to the rail. Just looking at that 3 and 14 ball, that's nowhere near. So Matt, once again, will be looking to get his weight a shot slightly better if he's going up table. He's got a nice line off the 11 ball. And again, just a wee bit too heavy. Much more tough, difficult shot if you can nail that cue ball onto the rail. And now this is where Matt has to be careful. Cigarette paper thin. And couldn't hit it much more than that for fear of bringing a ball out. Now let's look at what the situation is now, because, well, Segeresh, I don't think, has looked at that enough. Let's have a look. That is a clean hit through to the 14 ball. Let's have a look. It's going to the right side of the pocket. It might catch the point. There's a doubt as to whether it would go, but it's certainly changed now because Matt's just played off it. And there was a possibility. It was obviously a risky shot, but Segeresh didn't give it a look. But now we have a ball in play, so that now limits where you can go for safety. So it's up to the long grass for Matt if he can skim. And the spin, bringing the cue ball back to the left and up the table. Now, has it covered the 14? No. Well, it hasn't covered it. And Segeresh didn't get any spin in the cue ball, which is why he didn't get cover behind the pack. Okay, there's a ball on for Matt, but he's going to be hard pushed to get anything else from it. Got to just take what's there and try and run for cover. And if anything, Segeresh is the one with the problem because he's got to find a safety now. Once again, easy safety, feather edge of the 11. Try and get right up into that corner. That's a better length. That's pretty much where you want to be. And there's nothing doing in the pack. Well, if you skim off the 15, your odds on you'll scratch on the side. Plus, if you hit it too thick, you nudge the 6 into play. So he wasn't interested in that. Well, a little feather edge in the 12 will do the trick. But again, Segeresh, his touch is a bit too heavy. Now, is Matt going to take the bait? Or is he just going to push that 11 back into the pack and run for cover? Because he can thin edge the 11 and just get length in the cue ball again. But I think he's made his mind up. And he's got a shot. He who dares wins. Excuse me. Now this is looking good now. These balls are all over the place. And he's got break balls. That 9 ball sitting pretty good. 15's okay. So he's got stuff to work around here. And loads of options. So this is going to add another chunk towards that total. Now, while Matt's working his way through these, this is just one last little reminder, especially for anybody who's joined us late. If we go to the main page, we had one match on tomorrow night, so my initial plan was to follow that match, the match between Albinario and Tommy at 7 p.m. GMT. There's a match between Popman and Acero in the afternoon, 2 p.m. But earlier on this evening, Moz and Bedhead have agreed a time. Now, unfortunately, for their one-loss side match, that clashes immediately with Albinario and Tommy. So I'm going to go initially with what was planned with that match when it starts, and we'll keep a good close eye on what's happening with Moz and Bedhead. That's the way it's going to have to be. Meanwhile, the 9 ball still remains there as a break shot. Matt's on 10, and he's got reasonable options to land nice on this 9 ball, which it looks as if he's going to do off the 2. So again, just having a look round to get his bearings to make sure the line is what the line looks like and where he's going to spot this cue ball. Now again, half a cue tip below the equator and a good firm stunt. But again, he's missed the pot. And he's missed a few of them. I mean, that was not a difficult pot, that one. Well, it's a big target, but I'm going to set it. Segeresh's target is to get to 3 figures. He's 23 away from that right now. And it looks as if he's forced into a tough starter. Although the 7 ball will go. And I don't know whether he gave that enough consideration, the 7 ball. But once again, it's a contribution this time of 0 from Segeresh, and I think it's as if the heart's gone out of the game here. It wasn't an easy shot on that 8 ball, but I think the 7 ball wasn't quite as tough. Or maybe he didn't see the benefit in either and just made his choice. Now, is Matt dead straight in the 8, or can he just rise? He's got a slight angle. He might try and get out into the table for the 3. He can squeeze a little angle from that. Well, in fact, I think he can get the 4. Let's have a look. Now, is he saving the 4 ball? And is he going to play it this time? Well, it certainly goes clean, so hoping to improve it. Well, that's ended up, again, really ugly. Balls move, but they all move back into awkward positions. Nothing's improved at all. He can't see the 10. And he's only got the 5 as a bailout. And when he pots this 5, he'll have to finish in a little gap here to have a shot. And I think he's overcooked it in the 10. He's going to have to take the 7. Oh, it's wiped its feet. And Segeresh, well, he's bound to improve in his last visit. The 7's hanging over the pocket. But his prospects for getting much more after this are not good either. Big draw. And he's dead in the water. Couldn't have finished in a worse spot. Well, if he can get past that ball, he could play the bank. And he can't even do that, I think. I don't think he can get to the... Nope, he can't get to the angle in the 13 to pot that, or to bank it anyway. He could do it in the 1. He's trying to use the pack. That was actually a good shot. That was well played. Oh, that 12 and 2 are dead set at the moment. Won't last long, though, I don't think. I don't think it really matters, though, considering the position of the other balls. Now, what's Matt saw here? Now, is he trying to blast that 9 onto the 12 to play the combo? Yeah, a bit ambitious at that angle. I think he just decided that the lead that he's got, he'd push the boat out to try and get to the finishing line there, but Segeresh has yet another opportunity. And, well, he does have the one ball to work with. It's near the bottom of the pack, but 14 ball could do as well, which is near the top of the pack. Well, in fact, it's above the pack. It's not great. Well, I think I've already said this in the match, but I'll say it again. If you're ever going to make your biggest contribution to the match, there's no more ideal time than right now to start putting things together. So here we go. Critical phase. And that's dead straight. That's absolutely no good to him. So, take the point, run for cover. Well, he's called a safety. Got the cue ball into the kitchen. And it's only 7, but it will do for the time being. But Segeresh has just got to have a sequence here where he wins every safety exchange and just starts adding points to the board. That's about the best you can ask for at the moment. It's a tall order, though. And again, Segeresh just over hitting it slightly. Well, that's extremely unlucky. I know he might not be, though. I think he might be okay. Let's have a look. I think he's right on that 11. That's worked out perfect then. Because I thought Matt for a second there could see the 5. I don't think he can. I think that's right on the 11. Maybe you can see it. The more I look at it, it looks as if it's right on the 11, but it's hard to tell because it's in such an awkward spot. Well, I think it's ended up dead straight and he's followed it in. But again, that's actually not a bad safety, to be honest with you. That he'll settle for that. It couldn't be any more safe than where it's ended up. Now there is a good shot, because that's your target area. You know, if you can get that cue ball like within that zone between the rail and the point of those pockets, that's a good safety. If you can get within that zone. There's nothing on there. Again, Matt trying to find that length. But even though it's not on the rail, it still means that your opponent's got to get the right edge of this ball. And Segeresh looks as if he's found a length there. That is almost within that zone. Well, this is a test of the hand-eye coordination here at this distance to keep feathering this object ball. And again, Segeresh has found a good length. He might scratch off it, but it's still not bad. But like I said earlier, Segeresh must be the winner in this exchange. And Matt's having a good look in case something's changed here. There doesn't look to be anything. Now, wait a minute. No. Have a quick look here. Now that's going to the jaw, that 13 ball. And the 8 ball looks as if it's going the same direction to the other jaw. Now, is he looking at this 4 onto the 7? No. Well, he's missed the edge this time, so a point goes there. Yeah, the 4. I think the 4 just squeezes past the 12. Now, if the 4 hits the 7, it's not hitting a line onto that 15. That's just pushing the 15 to the rail. Once again, Segeresh has got the pace, and that's a qualifier. That's excellent. That's exactly where you want to be, deep towards that corner pocket. And now, quick look, I think that's still got cover. And Segeresh this time has got to be careful. He looks as if he's staying up the top end here. No, he's gone for the cut. brave shot. He has to make it count, but he'll do well just to pick off what's here for the time being and keep it tight. If he falls into a shot where he can do some damage with those balls, then fair enough. But I think he'd be far better just taking what's there. And if he doesn't get good on something, then don't start pushing the boat out. Well, I think he can't see the one. He's now got one of these shots. It's going to be the 6-ball up table. And he needs to watch how far he's running through here, because that middle pocket could come into play. He's okay. And he could take the opportunity now. He needs to really get a good break here and land on something. It's not really gone great. Now, they all pop from the opposite side, of course, as we're looking, but look at where the 9 and 5 are. He can get on the 2, but he's going to have to run up table here and come back down. Needs to keep going. That'll do it. And he's got a slight angle. I don't know whether he wants to actually hit anything here. He might do well just to draw back towards the 9. And that's the right way to do it. And I don't think he really should be concerning himself a great deal with a break shot here. Take what's there and run for cover if needs be. There is also the option, well, thinking about it, that 1 ball is obviously a blocker. Yeah, the 1 ball is a blocker. Now, how does he deal with that? Because what I was thinking is if somehow he could leave the 1 ball there. In fact, I don't even know whether that'd be good to him as a break shot with ball in hand if he finished in the pack with the cue ball. But he can get rid of the 1 now. Well, it's got to be the 12. Oh dear. Well, I don't believe he wanted to be doing that, because I think that spoiled any chance he had there of a break shot. I mean, it was stared him in the face, and he's just spoiled the whole situation with that 1 shot there. And I don't know whether he was thinking a great deal there when he played that shot. That was his 1 chance, and he's certainly got no chance from this. Now that's trying to change the laws of physics, Captain. Well, it's a run of 15, and we're back to the same situation as before. He's got a safety. He's on 99. He's 26 behind. He's got to win this next battle again. It's the only way he's going to get back into it. He's came out on top on that last one, and the same thing has to happen again. And Matt, again, finding a good length. Now he needs to be careful, Segeresh, with this 13 ball, because that 10's running off the 1. and he's nudged out the 5. And Matt's safety has got him. Well, he's got a shot. Not a great deal of opportunity for a lot else from it though. But Matt's won the safety battle. Oh dear. Oh dear. Trying to baby it in. Well, Segeresh calling the 5 and trying to get the hit. Oh, now this is a toughie. Oh, these are horrible shots. Again, I prefer to jack right up with the cue ball and use the W key to aim with the shaft of the cue. Oh, this might turn out bad for Segeresh because that 10 ball's a big cut and a big hit onto this pack. He could do lots of damage here. But Segeresh has got to 100. He's got to the target I set him. Well, Matt hasn't hit it. He hasn't hit it. And he's on nothing. He can play the combo. He can just get to the 4. Yep, that's what he's going for. I might try coming into the back of them here. Nope. Now, what's he doing? Looking for the cut and the hit. Maybe have to check this a wee bit. No, he's going out. He looks as if he's trying to avoid the pack. Well, I don't see anything obvious in the pack, so he's gone inside the 1. But he's going to have to force this. That 3 ball goes. Oh, that's worked out very nice. So Matt moves on to 130. 20 away. Another combo. Well, 3 balls at the back of the pack. 14 ball could do as a break shot from the middle of the table. Still haven't decided what Matt's decided yet. Well, it's clear now that he's going for the middle of the table. Somewhere up by the middle pocket, I would think. Well, he could have done with a wee bit more. But he's got a good hit. How's the cue ball though? And he's got a bailout. Well, Matt looking to get this match done. 12 away, and the 12 balls and more are all there for him. If he can just find his way out. Well, it looks as if he's going to nudge the 6. And nudging the 6, the question was is what else would he have from it? When he's got the 12 on the side, he's got that. Is that the 13 ball or the 11? It's the 11. But he's got to move the cue ball a wee bit to either have the 7 or the 1 here. So now 9 away. Well, this is another little testy. Cut back in the 6, cut into the side on the 12, and he's now got 2 sets of problem balls. And the immediate problem thereafter is the fact that he needs some of them to run out here, I think. How many does he need? 8? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, he needs to get a hit if he's going to finish the match. Well, this is his chance to get a little bit of movement here and free something up off this 1 ball. Looks as if he could go through the gap and hit the 10 and 15. Well, he's actually clipped to 3. Where's the cue ball going? Oh dear. Well, just as we thought Matt was going to get there, he tried to break out, clipped to 3. The run ends in 17, and it's last chance saloon for Segeresh. No doubt about it, and Segeresh has got the same problem, and he can improve something here off this 3. Just a little run through off the rail, and it's going to be the 1 ball up the table. And again, I think the angle's the wrong side to hold for the 6. Yeah, there's no point looking there. There's nothing doing, so it's got to be the 1 ball and try and create something. And again, the problem is to open those 2 balls. There's balls in the way, so there's no. I mean, he's going to try it off the 6. If he was trying it off the 5, the 8 and that are blockers, and that has worked out nice as far as that goes. The only problem is he's still got a problem. Now, he'd have to play a delicate little shot to drop behind the 10-2. And now he's going to try and get the nudge. And now this could be his last shot because it's got to go in. He's got a break ball on the right side, the 5 ball. He'd need to get inside, I think, to play it. Then a blind shot on this 2, which he's got. Again, another dodgy 10 ball. And now knowing that this break shot is there, he's simply got to get it. Or if he doesn't have to get good on the 5. Well, he's a big distance away. He's got an angle. And he's got to get a good stun in this and clip the corner if he can. And how's his luck? Well, it could have been a lot better than this, because that 7 ball is too tight. The 9 will cut, and if he gets it, he's going to struggle for his next ball. There ain't a lot there, I'm afraid. Yeah, if you look at it in that line, it looks as if it's got plenty of room, but it really doesn't. Well, that will do. He's got the little nudge. And now he can maybe give this a little bit of a blast to get some movement. Well, the 2 ball will be helpful as far as a bailout, just to keep himself at the table, because he knows that the next mistake most certainly should be his last one. But the lifeline is there. It's whether he can hang on to it and somehow find a way out. He's 30 behind. That might have gone wrong. It's okay that he's got the 13 ball, because if that 13 wasn't there, he had not much else. Well, now this 2 ball is not great. He's got a hit. He's got the 1 as a bailout, so he can work around these balls and leave the 1 ball there. He could maybe use the 1 ball as a break shot if he's desperate enough, but in this situation, you'll take anything. Well, this is hanging on by the skin of your teeth in the death throes of the match. And Segeresh just needs to stay 100% on the ball here. Well, we're now 2 hours and 18 minutes into this match. And is this going to be the final twist? Because we know it's pretty much all over if Segeresh can't keep himself at the table. Okay, there's not enough balls here at the moment as the table lies for Matt to come back. Oh, dear me. Well, that's the only lifeline. But that 1 ball is over the pocket. The 8 ball would do for a hit in the corner of the pack. But Matt still needs another break shot. And Segeresh's A little bit of glimmer of hope there may well have just been diminished with that miss, because it really should not have been a miss. Well, this has gone dead straight in the 11. It could be just a roll through, but he has to try and get out off the rail. He's got a little angle to do that and push this 6 into the side. Bring the cue ball back out. Well, he might have gone, well, he's got a tiny angle to work with on this 6 ball. So it's all about the pace and the cue ball. So Matt moves on to 146. He's 4 away, and this is a bit too straight. How much of a hit is he going to get? Well, just enough to bring a couple out. But he only has a couple, but if he can get the angle in the 6, he can drop onto the 13 once he's potted this 2. He wants to try and get onto the bottom rail or leave himself short of the rail to have that angle, and that's perfect. So now he's 2 away and he's home and dry. Well, there was that little hope there for Segeresh that he could find a run that would pinch this match, but I'm afraid it was all lost. For a good hour or more for Segeresh, where he just didn't make anything, and that allowed Matt to sneak away with his contributions. So Matt goes through by 150 points to 118. One final reminder that we have the 2 matches. Well, we've got 3 matches tomorrow. The match between Acero and Popman at 2 p.m. GMT. We've got the match that I'm focusing on tomorrow night, the winner side match between Albinario and Tommy at 7 p.m. race to 200, and at the same time we've got 2 matches clashing. We've got then the one lost side match race to 150 between Bedhead and Moz. So well done to Matt. I think he was maybe getting a bit nervy there at the end, wondering whether Segeresh could hold his nerve. But Segeresh lost that match after the first 20 minutes, because from then on he just was not getting himself in situations where he was stringing anything together. So with that, folks, I am going to say thank you for watching. Hope you can join us tomorrow. Remember, if you can't, for the big match, we may well switch between one and the other depending on how things are shaping up. But if you can't get there, remember it will be on YouTube. So I'll bid you good night, take care, and I'll see you again soon, no doubt.
pool, nothing else. No bar, no pinball machines, no bowling alleys.